Step back in time to 10,000 BC, an era defined by vast wilderness, raw survival, and the primal rhythm of the hunt. For a hunter in this distant past, life was a constant dance with nature, a testament to resilience, cunning, and profound connection to the land. This is his story, from his birth in a temporary shelter to his final rest in a sacred spot known only to his band. If you like what I do, please like and subscribe. Now put on your headphones, pull up the blanket, take a deep breath, and relax. Your first breath was drawn not in a fixed dwelling, but in a smoky hide-covered lean-to or a deep cave, a temporary refuge for your nomadic band. The air was thick with the scent of wood smoke, damp earth, and the raw hides that formed your walls. You were born amidst a small nomadic band, your first sounds mingling with the distant calls of unseen animals, the sounds of the wild, just outside your temporary home. Your mother, likely aided by other women of the band, brought you into this world, a testament to the enduring human spirit in a harsh environment. Life here was dictated by movement, by the seasons, and by the constant pursuit of food. There was no static village, only a continuous journey. Your earliest sensations would be the warmth of communal fires, the close presence of your family, and the constant awareness of the external world. The light would flicker from the central fire, casting dancing shadows on the cave walls or the stretched hides, your first visual memories. You were one of many, your survival dependent on the collective strength and cooperation of your small group. Every resource was precious. Warmth, food, and safety were secured through constant vigilance and the hard labor of your elders. This humble, mobile beginning defined your existence, a life intricately woven into the fabric of the wild, where adaptability was paramount. You were born into a world of primal beauty and brutal challenge, destined to become a hunter, a provider, and a guardian of your small roving community. As an infant, you were rarely alone, your existence marked by close proximity to your mother or other female relatives who served as caregivers. You were carried almost constantly, either in a sling made of hide or bark, or cradled in arms. This kept you warm, safe from immediate dangers, and intimately connected to your primary caregiver. From this vantage point, you began to interpret the subtle sounds and movements of the forest and open plains from a very young age. The rustle of leaves, the snap of a twig, the distant call of a bird, each carried potential meaning. Your world was sensory. The smell of wood smoke and hides, the rhythm of walking, the hushed voices of the adults around you. You learned to sleep through the elements, rocked by movement, accustomed to the sounds of the wild just outside your temporary shelter. Breastfeeding was your primary nourishment, often for several years, ensuring your survival and strengthening your bond with your mother. The constant physical contact provided security in a world filled with unknown dangers, fostering trust and dependence on your band. You observed the patterns of the adults, their quiet vigilance, their sudden alertness, their movements as they prepared food or tools. This early, intense bonding was crucial for survival, creating a foundation of trust that would underpin your future as a member of the hunting band. Your infancy was a period of silent absorption, taking in the vital information about your environment and the ways of your people, preparing you for the challenging life ahead. As you gained mobility, your world expanded, but the inherent dangers of your environment meant your exploration was always supervised. You were allowed to explore within the immediate camp perimeter, your curiosity guiding your first independent movements. However, you were constantly watched by vigilant adults. Their eyes, accustomed to spotting danger, ensured your safety in a world teeming with threats. You learned incredibly quickly to avoid dangerous plants, those with thorns, irritating sap, or poisonous berries, often by sharp correction or mimicry. Sharp objects were everywhere. You learned to navigate around sharp flint flakes, discarded bone shards, and the pointed ends of spears, understanding their potential for harm. The greatest threat came from wild animals. You learned to identify the warning sounds of predators, to respect their territories, and to stay close to the safety of the adult group. An imaginative detail. One afternoon, your fascination drew you too close to a thorny bush, its red berries enticing. Before your hand could reach, a strong, firm hand, perhaps your grandmother's, gently pulled you back, a silent but clear lesson in avoiding harm. These early lessons were direct and often without words, taught through immediate consequence and the constant, unspoken guidance of your elders. You developed an acute awareness of your surroundings, an instinct for self-preservation that would serve you throughout your life as a hunter. Your playful movements were often a form of unconscious training, building agility, balance, and a growing understanding of your physical capabilities. Every step of your toddlerhood was a lesson in survival, shaping your instincts and reinforcing the constant vigilance required to thrive in the unforgiving wilderness.
As you transition from toddler to young child, your learning became more structured, though still entirely practical. You learned primarily by observing adults intently, their every action a lesson. You mimicked their movements as they prepared food, sharpened tools, or scanned the horizon, internalizing the vital rhythms of nomadic life. You learned to identify animal tracks, deciphering their size, direction, and freshness. A deer's cloven hoofprint, a wolf's paw mark, each told a story. Your elders taught you to discern edible plants from poisonous ones, a crucial skill for foraging. You learned which berries were sweet, which roots sustained, and which leaves could heal. You were introduced to the safe handling of basic tools, a small, dull flint scraper for preparing hides, a digging stick for roots, or a simple bone awl. An imaginative detail. You watched your grandfather, his hands gnarled and wise, as he patiently flaked a stone point. He would then hand you a smooth, water-worn stone, teaching you to rub it against a piece of bone, feeling the texture, understanding the concept of shaping materials. These lessons were continuous, woven into the fabric of daily life, with no formal classes but constant mentorship. You learned the importance of silence while observing nature, the value of patience, and the precision required for tasks that ensured survival. Your memory became a vast repository of environmental knowledge absorbed through direct experience and the endless wisdom imparted by your elders. This period forged your deep connection to the land and its resources, transforming you from a passive observer into an active, discerning participant in the band's quest for sustenance.
A memorable milestone in your early childhood was receiving your first simple flint scraper or stone. This was more than a toy. It was a symbol of your growing utility to the band. An elder, perhaps your father or a respected hunter, would meticulously flake a suitable piece of flint, its edges razor sharp, then present it to you. You were taught to use this tool to clean hides, scraping away flesh and fat, preparing them for clothing, shelter, or containers. The texture of the hide, the feel of the sharp edge against it, became intimately familiar. Alternatively, you might learn to prepare small game, carefully skinning a squirrel or bird, understanding the anatomy and the efficient use of the tool. You felt the sharp edge for the first time, a respectful understanding of its power and potential for both use and harm. This was your first direct involvement in the processing of food and materials, a tangible contribution to the band's survival. The process of creating and maintaining tools became a fundamental part of your identity. You learned to respect the craftsmanship and the raw materials provided by the earth. This early tool taught you dexterity, precision, and the importance of every piece of equipment for survival. It was a quiet initiation, a recognition that you were moving beyond mere observation into active participation in the hunter-gatherer lifestyle. Your first tool was a tangible connection to the ingenuity of your ancestors, a symbol of your growing role in sustaining your family and band.
As you matured into your late childhood, your play became increasingly sophisticated, mirroring the serious business of hunting. You engaged in elaborate games of tracking and stalking with other children of your band. These games were not mere recreation, they were vital training. You learned to move with incredible silent movement, stepping lightly, avoiding dry leaves and snapping twigs. You practiced rudimentary ambush tactics, hiding behind rocks or thickets, surprising your playmates as if they were unwitting prey. You honed your senses, spotting a camouflaged target, a hidden stick or a small animal, interpreting faint sounds and understanding wind direction. An imaginative detail. With your breath held, you crept on hands and knees through a patch of tall reeds, an imaginary mammoth your prey. You spotted the enemy, your older brother, equally silent just ahead, and froze, deciding on the perfect moment to spring your ambush, a silent battle of wits and senses. These hunting games fostered intense competition and cooperation among the children, building the teamwork essential for actual hunts. You learned patience, waiting for the opportune moment, and the discipline to remain perfectly still for long periods. Your body became accustomed to crouching, crawling, and sprinting, building agility and endurance necessary for the rigors of the hunt. The forest, once just a place of exploration, became a vast training ground, its sounds and textures intimately known. These hunting games were a crucial part of your informal education, transforming youthful energy into the refined skills that would one day secure food for your entire band. With growing strength and dexterity, you progressed to crafting more advanced tools for the hunt. You were patiently taught to fashion a simple bow and arrows, or an atlatl, spear thrower. This was a meticulous process. You learned to select the right wood for the bow, to cure it properly, and to bend it with precise tension. For arrows, you'd carefully straighten shafts, fletch them with feathers for stability, and attach your painstakingly flaked flint points. Meticulously flaking flint for arrowheads or spear points was a core skill. Under the watchful eye of an elder, you'd learn the precise angle and force needed to strike the flint, creating the sharp edges and slender forms. An atlatl, or spear thrower, was a simpler but equally effective tool designed to increase the leverage and power of a thrown spear. You learned to distinguish different types of stone, chert, obsidian, flint, and to understand their unique flaking properties. Each successful flake, each perfectly shaped point, was a source of quiet satisfaction, a testament to your growing mastery of materials. The crafting process taught you immense patience, precision,
and a deep respect for the raw materials provided by the earth. You understood that your life and the lives of your band would depend on the quality and reliability of the weapons you forged. This hands-on experience with weapon crafting transformed you from a child practicing hunting to a young man preparing for the serious business of providing for your people.
Your world was the wild, and your survival depended on an intimate, encyclopedic knowledge of the land. You spent countless hours traversing the tribal territory with your elders, absorbing every detail. You memorized every water source, hidden springs, reliable streams, and temporary puddles, vital knowledge in times of drought. You learned the seasonal animal migration routes, understanding when the deer herds would pass through a particular valley, or when the wild horses would graze on the plains. Every rock formation, every stand of trees, every river bend became a landmark guiding your movements through the vast, unmarked wilderness. You learned the best shelter locations, the dry caves, the natural rock overhangs, the places where thick foliage offered protection from wind and rain. And imaginative detail. Following your father on a long patrol, he'd suddenly stop, pointing to a barely visible indentation on a mossy rock, a faint, ancient trail used by humans and animals for generations. You understood then that the land held stories, routes, and resources that stretched back beyond memory. You absorbed knowledge of weather patterns, how the clouds gathered, how the wind shifted, predicting storms or clear skies. This intimate connection to the environment was passed down orally, through stories and through direct observation and practice, building a vast mental map of your world. Your mind became a living encyclopedia of flora and fauna, of topography and climate, a survival guide etched into your very being. This profound knowledge of the land was your greatest asset as a hunter, enabling you to find sustenance, avoid danger, and navigate the wild with unparalleled skill.
A pivotal moment in your young life was the thrill and immense responsibility of your first kill, even if it was just small game. Perhaps you set a clever snare you fashioned yourself, or stalked a target for hours with your bow and a newly crafted arrow. The target might be a quick rabbit, a wary bird, or a scurrying marmot, something small but still a source of vital protein for your band. The moment you brought it down, there was a mix of exhilaration and a sober understanding of the life taken, a deep respect for the creature that would provide sustenance. You learned the immediate duties, efficiently dispatching the animal, carrying it back to camp, and preparing it for consumption. This first kill provided food for the group, a direct contribution that earned you recognition and increased respect within the band. It solidified your role as a provider, proving your ability to apply the skills you had diligently learned. Your elders would nod in approval, perhaps offering quiet words of praise or further instruction on tracking or butchering. This experience marked your true initiation into the practicalities of the hunt, moving from practice to tangible contribution. Your first kill was a silent rite of passage, confirming your place as a burgeoning hunter and a valuable member of your nomadic community.
The pinnacle of a hunter's early career was participating in your first communal hunt for large game, a complex and dangerous undertaking that relied on teamwork and strategy. This was a coordinated effort, often involving the entire able-bodied male contingent of the band, sometimes even women and children in supporting roles. The prey might be a large herd of deer, wary wild cattle or aurochs, or even the formidable bison of the plains, requiring immense strength and courage. You learned the intricate strategies, how to form a wide net, how to use natural terrain to your advantage, how to drive animals into traps or ambushes. An imaginative event, you joined the shouting line, helping to drive a frightened herd towards a natural cliff edge, or perhaps into a deep camouflaged pit trap. You felt the very ground tremble beneath your feet as the massive animal stampeded, a terrifying, exhilarating force, your heart pounding with the shared effort and danger. The hunt could last for days, involving extensive tracking, patient waiting, and sudden bursts of intense, synchronized action. Success meant not just food, but a wealth of materials: hides for clothing and shelter, bones for tools and weapons, sinew for cordage. Failure, however, meant potential starvation for the entire band, underscoring the high stakes of these communal efforts. This experience forged unbreakable bonds of camaraderie and trust within the hunting party, where each man relied on the others for his life and the band's sustenance. The communal hunt was the ultimate expression of human cooperation against the power of nature, a testament to the ingenuity and courage required to survive in 10,000 BC.
While summer brought abundance, winter presented the ultimate test of survival. You learned to endure brutal winters, periods of extreme cold, deep snow, and scarcity. Survival relied heavily on stored provisions, dried meat, preserved berries, and cached roots, painstakingly gathered during the warmer months. Skilled hunting remained essential, as fresh game was harder to find and more elusive in the snow-covered landscapes. Patience and cunning were paramount. Your band would seek refuge in caves or well-insulated shelters, perhaps dugouts lined with hides, designed to trap warmth from communal fires. The warmth of communal fires became the center of life, a constant source of heat, light, and comfort against the relentless cold. An imaginative detail. Huddled around the crackling fire deep within a cave, you listened to the howling wind outside, feeling the warmth of your comrades pressed close. The stories told by the elders in the flickering light were not just entertainment, but lessons in endurance, keeping spirits high in the long, dark months. Frostbite, hunger, and illness were constant threats, testing the limits of your physical and mental resilience. Every piece of animal hide, every layer of fur was precious, providing vital insulation against the elements. Winter was a period of introspection and communal bonding, as the band drew closer, relying on each other for warmth, food, and morale. Surviving the harsh winters demonstrated your people's profound adaptability and resourcefulness, a testament to their mastery of the environment. In the vast wilderness, you were not always the hunter. You developed an acute awareness of apex predators, formidable creatures like wolves, bears, and even large cats like cave lions or saber-toothed cats. Though less common by 10,000 BC, their legacy of fear persisted. You learned to identify their signs: fresh tracks, claw marks on trees, the distinctive smell of their dens, or the distant echo of a growl. Your senses were constantly alert, scanning the terrain, listening for subtle sounds that indicated their presence. The first rule was how to avoid them, staying clear of known dens, moving in groups, and making noise to deter accidental encounters. However, you also learned how to deter them if necessary, shouting,
Waving firebrands, banging sticks, or throwing stones were common tactics to scare them off. An imaginative detail. One twilight, while retrieving snares, you heard a low growl from a thicket. Freezing, you slowly raised your hunting spear, eyes fixed on the rustling bushes. The growl intensified, and you stood firm, knowing that showing fear meant death. The wolf, after a tense standoff, eventually turned and melted back into the shadows, a chilling lesson in primal confrontation. Encounters were rare, but terrifying. Your life depended on your quick reflexes and the combined strength of your band. Respect for these powerful creatures was deep. You understood your place in the food chain, a balance that could shift in an instant. This constant threat honed your instincts, making you perpetually vigilant and resourceful in a world where you were both hunter and potential prey. Facing predators reinforced the need for communal protection and the raw courage required to survive in the wild, cementing your bond with your fellow hunters.
Your life depended on your tools, and thus tool maintenance was a constant, almost ritualistic part of your daily routine. Every piece of flint, bone, or wood was precious. You would spend hours meticulously sharpening and repairing your stone tools, flint knives, scrapers, arrowheads, and spear points, using smaller stones or antlers to apply pressure flakes. Bone tools like awls for piercing hides or needles for sewing required careful polishing and reshaping to remain effective. Wooden tools, digging sticks, spear shafts, bow staves, needed constant inspection for cracks, splinters, or decay, requiring immediate repair or replacement. You learned that a well-maintained tool was an extension of your own hand, crucial for efficient hunting, butchering, and everyday tasks. An imaginative detail. One evening, as you rehafted a broken spear point onto a new shaft, you watched a younger hunter carefully chipping away at a piece of obsidian. He experimented with a slightly different angle for the base of the point, seeking a deeper slot for binding. You recognized the spark of innovation, perhaps offering a quiet suggestion, knowing that every refinement could improve the band's survival. This continuous process of maintenance and occasional innovation ensured your band retained its technological edge in the relentless pursuit of sustenance. The ability to create and refine tools was a mark of skill and intelligence, contributing directly to the band's efficiency and adaptability. Tools were not just objects. They were embodiments of ancestral knowledge passed down and refined through generations of practical experience. Your hands were always busy, constantly engaging with the materials of your world, ensuring your survival through skill and ingenuity. Around the crackling communal fire, especially during the long, dark evenings, the spirit of your band came alive through rituals and storytelling. You would participate in solemn nighttime rituals, perhaps offerings to the spirits of the animals you hunted, or dances invoking good fortune for future hunts, connecting you to the unseen world. Elders, their faces illuminated by the flickering flames, would recount ancestral hunts, epic tales of courage, cunning, and the challenges faced by your forefathers. They would share myths of creation, of the spirits that inhabited the land, the sky, and the animals, explaining the mysteries of your world. The wisdom of the spirits was woven into every narrative, lessons about respect for nature, the balance of life and death, and the importance of reciprocity. An imaginative detail.
You gazed at the flickering shadows cast by the fire on the cave walls, almost seeing the painted figures come to life. As an elder recounted a legendary hunt of his youth, you understood the reverence your ancestors held for the great mammoths now rarely seen in your territory, their powerful forms immortalized in paint. These stories were not just entertainment, they were the collective memory of your people, transmitting vital knowledge, values, and traditions across generations. They reinforced the bonds of your band, fostering a shared identity, a sense of belonging to something ancient and enduring. Through song, chant, and the rhythmic beat of hand drums, you connected to the spiritual heart of your community, finding meaning and purpose in the vast wilderness. Rituals and storytelling were the essence of your cultural life, providing solace, guidance, and a deep sense of connection to your past and the spiritual world.
Your life was defined by ceaseless motion. You experienced the relentless, cyclical movement of your band across their vast territory, a necessary dance with the changing seasons and animal migrations. You would follow game, tracking the migrating herds of reindeer or bison, moving your camp as they moved, ensuring a constant food supply. Or you would seek seasonal resources, moving to riverbanks for fish runs, to berry patches in summer, or to particular valleys where specific plants grew abundant in spring. Every few days, weeks, or months, depending on resource availability, the entire camp would be packed up, shelters dismantled, hides rolled, tools gathered. You learned to carry all your possessions, often a meager bundle of tools, hides, and perhaps a small personal trinket, on your back as you walked. An imaginative detail. The wind whipped your hair as you crested a ridge, your bundled belongings heavy on your shoulders. Below, the familiar river snaked through the valley, but the particular berry patch you'd targeted last spring was now barren. You instinctively knew the band would turn north, seeking a new foraging ground, adapting to nature's relentless demands. The journey itself was often a source of knowledge as you learned new landscapes, new hunting grounds, and new sources of food and water. This nomadic existence shaped your physical endurance, your intimate knowledge of the terrain, and your adaptability to diverse environments. There was no permanent home, only a profound connection to the land itself, wherever it offered sustenance and safety. Nomadic movement was the very rhythm of your life, a testament to your band's strategy for survival in a world of constant change and vast, untamed beauty.
Though your band might seem isolated, you would inevitably encounter other nomadic bands in your vast territory. These interactions could range from tense to surprisingly peaceful. Sometimes these encounters were tense, marked by cautious observation, assessment of strength, and the potential for conflict over hunting grounds or resources. Other times, they were peaceful. You might meet at a recognized neutral gathering place, perhaps a rich fishing spot or an abundant quarry for flint. During such peaceful encounters, your band would engage in trading goods, exchanging unique flint types, special furs, or crafted tools that your band had access to. You would also exchange information, news of game movements, weather patterns, or even stories and myths from distant lands. An imaginative detail. You approached a bend in the river, your hand instinctively reaching for your spear as you spotted smoke from an unfamiliar fire. As you drew closer, you saw figures, clearly of another band. After a tense standoff, an elder from your group exchanged a few guttural greetings, and soon you were trading a particularly sharp flint knife for a handful of shimmering, unfamiliar shells, learning snippets of their dialect and understanding their unique ways. These interactions could lead to intermarriage, strengthening alliances between bands and broadening genetic diversity. Avoiding conflict was often paramount, as open warfare could be devastating for small bands, leading to the loss of valuable hunters or the depletion of resources. You learned about different customs, different ways of flaking stone, and perhaps different hunting techniques, expanding your worldview. Encountering other bands was a rare but crucial part of your social landscape, highlighting the complex network of relationships that existed even in a seemingly isolated existence.
As you aged, your profound knowledge and proven skills elevated your status within the band. Your wisdom in tracking, weather prediction, and group dynamics made you a respected voice. You might become a temporary hunt leader, directing the movements of the hunting party, choosing the best strategy based on your experience and understanding of the prey and terrain. Your counsel would be sought in decisions regarding nomadic routes, where to set up camp, or how to address internal disputes. Your experience of countless hunts, migrations, and encounters with other bands provided an unparalleled reservoir of knowledge, valued by all. An imaginative detail. A difficult blizzard had obscured the familiar trails. The younger hunters looked to you, their faces uncertain. You pointed to a barely discernible ridgeline, recalling a hidden, south-facing rock shelter you had discovered decades ago during a similar storm. Your direction was followed without question, leading the band to safety, a testament to your decades of experience. Leadership in your band was rarely absolute or hereditary. It was based on demonstrated competence, respect, and the ability to contribute to the group's survival. You would share your insights around the fire, recounting past successes and failures, ensuring the younger generations learned from your experiences. Your calm demeanor in crisis, your ability to read the subtle signs of nature, and your unwavering resolve in the face of hardship made you a pillar of your community. This role as an elder and leader was a natural progression, a culmination of a lifetime spent mastering the art of survival in the wilderness. Your leadership was a quiet authority, earned through years of proven capability, guiding your band through the ever-present challenges of their nomadic life. The life of a hunter was inherently dangerous, and you would inevitably endure injuries from hunts, accidents, or the unpredictable wilderness. Survival often depended on the band's collective healing knowledge. A deep gash from a sharp flint, a twisted ankle from a fall, a broken bone from an animal encounter. These were common occurrences. Your band possessed deep empirical knowledge of herbal remedies. You would rely on elders, particularly women, who knew which plants could reduce pain, stop bleeding, or prevent infection. An imaginative event. You gritted your teeth, stifling a cry, as an elder carefully applied a poultice of chewed leaves, perhaps plantain or willow bark, to a deep gash from a boar's tusk on your thigh. The elder's face was grim as they worked, muttering ancient chants and blessings over the wound, hoping the spirits would aid in your recovery. Basic bone setting involved manipulating broken limbs and then immobilizing them with splints made of bark or woven reeds, a crude but often effective method. Infections were a constant threat, and many injuries that would be minor today could be fatal then, leading to fever, sepsis, and death. Recovery was a slow process, during which you would be unable to hunt, relying entirely on the provisions and care of your band, reinforcing communal bonds.
You learned to endure pain with stoicism, understanding it was a part of life in the wild and that complaining would serve no purpose. These experiences taught you humility, a profound respect for the fragility of the human body, and an immense gratitude for the healing knowledge of your people. The shared experience of injury and healing further solidified the bonds within your band, underscoring their mutual dependence and care for one another.
As you gained wisdom and experience, a crucial part of your role shifted to mentoring younger hunters, ensuring the continuity of your band's survival skills. You would patiently pass on your invaluable skills and knowledge to the next generation, recognizing that their mastery was essential for the band's future. You taught them the silent ways of the hunt, how to read subtle animal tracks, how to approach unseen, how to interpret the wind and terrain. You shared your knowledge of which flint napped best, how to mend a broken bowstring with sinew, or which berries were safe to eat after a frost. An imaginative detail: you stood silent and still behind a young boy, barely a teenager, as he patiently aimed his small bow at a distant squirrel. You subtly adjusted his grip, a gentle touch to his elbow, whispering about the wind's drift and the squirrel's likely escape route, seeing your own youth reflected in his eagerness. You recounted stories of past hunts, sharing not just triumphs, but also failures, emphasizing the lessons learned through hardship. You instilled in them the values of patience, perseverance, respect for the animals, and the critical importance of teamwork. This mentorship was a continuous, informal process, integrated into every aspect of daily life, from crafting tools to tracking game. Seeing the younger generation grasp complex skills, watching them make their first successful kill, brought a deep sense of satisfaction and purpose. Mentoring was your legacy, ensuring that the ancient knowledge and skills of your people would continue, allowing your band to thrive in the challenging world you knew so well. Eventually, your long journey through the vast wilderness would come to its end. You would die, perhaps from old age, an unforeseen accident during a solitary task, or from a failed hunt against a powerful beast. Your passing would be met with profound but ritualized grief by your band, your absence leaving a tangible void in their daily lives. Your body would be ritually prepared, perhaps wrapped in a hide or adorned with ochre, reflecting the spiritual beliefs of your people. You would be carried to a sacred spot known only to the band, a hidden cave, a high ridge overlooking a favored valley, or a quiet glade beside a river, a place where the spirits of ancestors lingered. An imaginative detail: as your body was carefully placed in the earth, positioned to face the rising sun, the band would offer silent prayers and perhaps a few cherished personal belongings, a favorite flint tool, a bone pendant, to accompany you on your journey. They believed your spirit would return to the land you knew so well, forever a part of its essence. The burial would be simple, respectful, and deeply connected to your band's understanding of the natural world and the cycle of life and death. There would be no permanent markers, no elaborate monuments, for your legacy was etched into the memories of your people and the landscape itself. Your spirit was believed to rejoin the ancestral spirits, perhaps to aid future hunts or watch over your descendants. Your life a testament to resilience, cunning, and profound adaptability, concluded with your return to the earth that had sustained you. Your demise marked the completion of your personal saga,
a quiet but significant event in the continuous flow of life in the ancient wilderness, your essence now intertwined with the very land you had so diligently hunted and protected.
Your saga, a testament to courage, cunning, and unbreakable connection to the wild, now concludes. From your birth in a temporary shelter to your final rest in a sacred spot, you embodied the enduring spirit of the hunter-gatherer. Your life was a continuous dance with nature, ensuring the survival of your band against overwhelming odds. Remember, even in the quiet of the present, the echo of your ancient life resonates. Now relax and enjoy the silence, for your journey is complete.